Okay, so today we have a lot to talk about. The vacuum pump finally got here, and we have our tube, but how do we get the tube to connect to the vacuum pump? I mean, what size is the tube? What size is the thread on here? So the thread on here on the vacuum pump is a 1/4 inch male thread. Just so you're ready to go, most people probably have 1/4 inch male thread. What size is the tube? Who knows? Let's find out. Power this bad boy on. All right, so the external diameter is 0.25, about a 1/4 inch. Let's check the internal diameter. That's coming out to about 0.15. There we go. So how do you connect those two? You know, at first I figured I must have something to fit. So I went through and pulled out this pile of stuff as well as other fittings and connectors I have to see if I could get something to work. So here's a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch male connector. I've got female connectors, I've got barbed connectors, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, just everything. Sadly, none of those fit in the tube. This is way too big, does not fit in the tube at all. Okay, so I didn't have anything that would work in any of my stuff and other stuff. So what did that mean? It meant a trip to the store, and $40 later, in several hours, got a bunch of stuff. So what's the stuff that I got, and what do you need to connect your tube to your air compressor? What I went with is a 1/8 inch barb. This is not a 1/8 inch barb because mine is already in here. And once you get it in there, good luck getting it out because it is a crazy tight fit. But basically, this will shove down into your tube like so, and then it's not letting go. It's going to be in there. So a 1/8 inch barb. The next thing that you're going to want to figure out is the 1/8 inch. That does not match up to a 1/4 inch on your vacuum pump. So if you got your vacuum pump and you're trying to connect 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch, how do you do that? Well, you can do that with a 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch reducing coupling. Sadly, they did not have that at the stores that I went to. Maybe you can find it online. If I have a chance, I'll look it up and add it below. Instead, what they had was let me bring this back up, and real quick, a coupling looks like this. It's female to female, and you'd have 1/8 inch on this side and 1/4 inch on this side. Instead, what they have is a bushing, and it's 1/8 inch on this side and 1/4 inch on this side. So it's a lot like this, except for on this side it's female, which would be the same, and it's 1/8, and on this side the threads are on the outside and it's male going into your next piece. So now I've got 1/8 inch here, and now it's 1/4 inch. Perfect. But I've got 1/4 inch male and 1/4 inch male. So that's a problem. So that's where this piece came in, and that's a 1/4 inch bushing. So I could go 1/4 inch directly to 1/4 inch on the vacuum pump, but the problem there is that, well, now I'm permanently connected forever. Well, not forever, but it's a pain in the neck to deal with it. So I went with a quick connect disconnect system, and I had a female adapter, and then I had a female adapter here, and then these just connect together, and now I'm set to go. And with that being said, we'll hop into actually using it. Okay, so we have everything connected. The hose is connected to the back of the vacuum dog, and that's quick connected to the vacuum pump. So the next thing I want to test is actually putting one of these on there and see if that will hold a piece of wood. There we go. We'll see if this piece of wood holds. Let's turn it on. We can hear the vacuum running. I don't know if I'd recommend doing that yourself, but this vacuum pump is only 2.5 CFM, so it's not super strong. You can see this wood is pretty smooth on the back, so let's give it a shot. Okay, so that's holding. Yeah, I mean, it moves. No, not really. I mean, that's holding pretty well. If I push on the side, though, you can see that it's spinning pretty well. So I'm not sure if that's the vacuum pump. Whew. I'm not sure if that's that old vacuum pump that I have, no knowledge about, or maybe it's the piece of wood, though this has been sanded pretty smooth, or if it's, this is, I don't think this is mattering. I brought it up in the previous ones. I think when it compresses, it's not really mattering. It's possible that we're losing a little bit there, but I don't think so. The next test that I'd like to perform, it held when we're pushing this way. It holds that way, but it does not hold twisting because it's only one very small point. I can't do one of the larger pads, one of these pads, because the lines, my grid lines run across it. I have ordered some new rubber gasket material to push down into these lines and see if that will work as well. Looks like that's about 2 millimeters, so I'll see how that goes. The other thing that I'd like to test would be 2 of these working together. So let's see how that works. There's 1. There's 2. So we shouldn't be losing any vacuum outside of both of those. And then here is a bigger piece of wood. To do this, I'm using a T. This is a 5/16 T, not a 1/4 inch. The 1/4 inch wouldn't fit, but the 5/16 would, so who knows, right? So this is what's fitting. This will now connect into my quick connect to the vacuum pump. These will quick connect out to both of my new lines. So I'm going to take care of that real quick. I've got both of those connected now. Here's the piece of wood. Let's turn the vacuum pump back on. Try and make sure it's got a good seal. And then let's push on it. It's not really going anywhere. If I push here, it's not twisting anymore. But you can see it is tipping. And that's affecting the seal. So next, let's try throwing some more of these underneath all 4 corners and see if that can solve that deflection. Now we've got 6 total on there, 4 extras to keep down the deflection. Let's go ahead and put this back on. And let's turn on the vacuum pump. Press it down. Okay, I can hear it's losing suction though when I let go. So now when I push, yeah, it's slipping. So I don't think I would trust that against the resistance of a CNC. And the reason I think it's losing the suction is I think that these 2 are compressing. These are compressing underneath the pressure of this. These aren't compressing nearly as much, and because of that, it's just not gaining suction. I think that one of 2 things needs to happen. Well, one of 3 things. 1, I need to get something that, a vacuum pump that can create more suction than the 2.5 CFM across the 2 Vacudogs, or I need to get the rubber gasket that I can make a larger space for, or potentially thinner. Yeah. So that'll be the next step. Okay, so after all that, what have we learned? Well, we've learned that you're going to need a few couplings and reducers and parts to get your tube connected to your air compressor. I'll try and list those in the description below. We've also learned that, well, potentially my pump is not strong enough, 2.5 CFM, to handle doing the work needed. Maybe there's a way around that, getting some gasket line. I'm going to try that. We'll see how that goes. That should be arriving later this week. And then hopefully we can get to doing some CNC work using the Vacudogs. I'm really excited about these things. I think that they will perform well. I think that they can create the suction we need.
I think we just need to either seal it better or we just need a better vacuum pump. That being said, I will note in my last review, I did talk about that I had concerns with the lines in these, the dimpling. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think these compress enough that it's not going to be a thing. So here's to the next test when we get the new gasket line in. Thanks, everybody.